Hi cuties, what's up? I am Sakshi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna rank all the books that I read this year from my least favorite to the most favorite, and I have created a list of all the books that I read in my journal, and I just thought that it would be fun to just talk to you all about books I really enjoyed, which I didn't, and all of that fun stuff. So my least favorite book of the year was That Kind of Guy. It was a romance book and it didn't keep me as interested in the book as I would have loved to and as other books did during the year. So this was my least favorite book of the year, and it was still a fun book, but it wasn't as nice as the other books that I have read during the year, so I'm ranking it the lowest. Then the second book that we have is The Icebreaker. This one I read in like Feb or March, and I don't remember what I read in the book, which is like a very clear indication that that book didn't have anything much to offer to me personally. And I know so many people love that book, and even in the moment when I was reading the book, I did enjoy the book, but looking back, I don't remember what I read in the book, and I think that kind of tells a lot about the book and not so much about my memory. But honestly, the book was fun and you could read it once, but it wasn't a book that will leave like a very long lasting impact on you. Also, you guys, this year I barely read any non-fiction books, simply because I kind of have the idea of what you should be doing with your life, and you just have to take action ultimately. And it would be so much better if you invest your energy in reading books that make you more fun or make you more interesting, or things that actually widen your thoughts. So that is one of the main reasons why I didn't read so many non-fiction books. I read just one, which was Show Your Work, and I did like the book a lot. It was like a very small read, and yeah, it was about content creation and that kind of stuff. It talked about how you should like post consistently and have something that you post every single day and all of that sort of stuff. So next book that we have on the list is No Room in Neverland. This book was something that I enjoyed, and I've recently read it like a week back. I read the book and I did like the book, but again, I've read so many different kind of books and I have read so much fun stuff that it didn't make the cut for me to the point that I would be like, this was the most favorite book of my year. And it wasn't, and it's okay, but it was still a very nice book, and I would suggest you guys to read the book. It is about Peter Panther, and this girl was left by her father in the amusement park, and then he never comes back, and she just spent her entire life basically searching for him and just like finding clues to go back to him and go and talk to him and just back in his life. So yeah, it was still a very fun book, and it also talked about things like delusion and how you should not be like too much consumed in things, and you should see what the reality is, and you should be able to differentiate the difference. And it was a really nice book, and I did rate it like 4 stars, and it was a really nice read. So yeah, I would still suggest you guys to read this book out. So next book that we have on the list is Nothing Like the Movies. This is the sequel to Better Than the Movies, and I personally really enjoyed Better Than the Movies a lot more than I liked Nothing Like the Movies. After this comes Days at the Morisaki bookshop. It revolved around a girl and her uncle, how she is getting over a breakup that she is barely able to get over, and then she goes and lives with her uncle, and it is like a very fun, relaxing read that you can read in like a day, like even like 2 to 3 hours you will be done with the book. The book is very small, it's like 150-ish pages, and it was a very fun book to read. Okay, so next book that we have on the list is The Locked Door, which I read in my last video actually. And the book revolves around this girl whose father kind of killed 30 women, and he kept their hands with himself, and then he goes to jail for doing that. The book is between present and past, and I really like books like that, but this one didn't make the cut for me because I've read a way better work of hers, and it wasn't my top read of the year. Next up we have A Man Called Ove. I really enjoyed that book. Again, it was about an old grumpy guy who is trying to live his life without his wife, and he is kind of trying to attempt suicide, and that is what is happening. Then there is this family that moves next door, and that book, mainly for me personally, it was just about, it showed how much a difference your company can make and the people that are around you can make in your life, and how how you act upon things. Next we have Better Than the Movies. Again, this book is super fun and I really enjoyed it. And it was one of the very few rom-coms that I read this year and I really enjoyed it. It was like more of a enemies to lovers trope and I'm very much into that trope, so it was a very fun book to read and I really enjoyed the book, so I would suggest you guys to read this one, and then you can also go ahead and read the sequel to it, which is Nothing Like the Movies. Next up we have The Boyfriend by again Freda McFerrin, and I really enjoyed this book honestly, and you will think that somebody else is a suspect, but then somebody you would not expect to be the suspect is the suspect, and I really enjoy such books. So it was super fun to read a book like that and it's one of my favorite books of the year. Then we have Yellow Face. I have seen a lot of people who don't like Yellow Face, but I personally really enjoyed the story, and the story is basically about this girl who steals her dead friend's manuscript and then she goes ahead and publishes the manuscript under her own name, and the story is just revolving around that and her just trying to not get caught. And there are so many instances in which you will think that she's gonna get caught now, but then she doesn't get caught, and then there is just so much happening in the book, and it was a very fun read for me. And again, I read that book last month I believe, and it is one of my favorite books of all time. Again, next up we have The Alchemist. I think this book is read by so many people and it's very widely loved, and I get why, but at the same time I really enjoyed the book and it was a very fun read for me. So at the start of this year I read the book and I really loved the way my year was started, and yeah, it's one of my favorite books and I would love to like reread the book. Okay, next up we have The Inmate, again a very fun thriller by Freda, and honestly this girl right here has only read thrillers by Freda, so her books are the only books that I read which comes in like the thriller category. If you have any suggestions for me for any other authors that I should read and I would enjoy that you think, please let me know in the comments bar. I would love to read more thrillers and fun mystery stuff like that. Okay, so my most favorite book of the year is actually a book series, The Housemaid, and this girlie right here has already talked about it a lot, but I just can't stop talking about it. This has to be my most favorite book series of the year and I enjoyed it the most, so that's my most favorite book of the year, and which is actually a book series. First is The Housemaid, second one is The Housemaid's Secret, and then the third one is The Housemaid is Watching. It's a very fun series. If you're gonna end your year with any book series, I would highly suggest you guys to read this one because it was a blast and I loved reading the books, and I just kept reading and just couldn't stop. They were very fast paced and made me really enjoy my life honestly. They were super fun, and yeah, so guys, that's it for today, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and you were able to find at least 1 or 2 books that you would like to read in the next year. I'm gonna see you guys in my next video. Please make sure that you hit that subscribe button, follow me on my Instagram where I talk a lot more about books, and I'm gonna see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.